As the famous Makayla Zhong once stated in a literary analysis, in the following excerpt, the author utilizes the word spaghetti to insightfully showcase the character's inner blatant pessimism, her liabilities, and in fact, exemplifies the idea that she is entangled in messy relationships. The word spaghetti was chosen over alternatives like pasta or just noodles to emphasize a sense of alienation by synthesizing the use of metathesis with a deep level of intellectual understanding before articulating vital themes. You may ask, what is she potentially thinking of while slurping her existential spaghetti? Well, I don't know, maybe why in the world her meatballs are not served yet. So, while intelligence is intrinsically valued, the need to sound smart has become a social phenomenon. Because, as the Medium magazine explains, intelligence is a socially valued attribute, and there are advantages to being seen as intelligent, which is why individuals may try to sound smart. A survey conducted by the educational platform Preply found that nearly 3 in 5 people use more complex vocabulary to appear smarter, but sounding smart backfires. Or should I say, have an adverse effect on one's self-presentation. Perhaps I could have started this speech differently. I could have started with what I would begin an A+ literary analysis with, while I do this with my left hand and slowly but confidently approach this side of the stage. To make ethos part of my speech, I would introduce a study with words I barely understand. The National Institutes of Health quotes, according to the theoretical framework that defines development as, quote, action in context. Individual development entails 2 aspects. A, it's based on specific contextual opportunities, and B, it involves changes in the individual itself, end quote. Okay, I actually didn't say anything of value. I simply spoke in a mesmeric pattern. I slowed my speed down to 50% of normal talking speed. I emphasized a few words, and voila, I sound like a smart kid. In fact, it does not even matter whether you understood that quote or not, because I don't. And I'll say some numbers that get your attention. Kogyo Debe says numbers add a sense of reality to my presentation, help people relate to the topic, increase the credibility of my speech. So let's take a look at the numbers. A survey finds that 7 out of 10 people admit to using complex vocabulary in a professional setting to appear smarter. And if that is incredible enough for you, long words will keep you in awe. Staggering, bewildering, flabbergasted, perplexing, spaghetti. Big words. I know. Big words like $10 Scrabble words to make me sound like I got a PhD while my sister was lazy and sloppy. Rhymes, rhythm, and a rhetorical device that you students are especially familiar with, anti-metaboly, where you merely switch 2 phrases around to sound smart. In fact, what works with anything. If you want wisdom to be a part of your life, you must first make life a part of your wisdom. If you want to sound deep, but what you say does not mean anything in particular, deepen your sound. Maybe that's why Adele is always rolling in the deep. But that doesn't make sense, but that's sort of the point. If you get the point, you're smart. 2 scientifically proven cognitive biases push us to go for the impenetrable rather than the simple. First of all, there is in fact a positive correlation between high-level vocabulary and intelligence. In an analysis of over 50,000 college admission essays, Pennebaker and co-authors found that higher grades were associated with complex concepts, while lower grades were correlated with personalized writing styles. Hence, for many, sounding smart is an alternate way to demonstrate effort throughout the educational process. Second, as Will Rogers once stated, you will never get a second chance to make a first impression. Psychology Today labels this as the halo effect, arguing that positive impressions about one trait will lead people to have positive impressions about another trait. This is the specific reason as to why people who, for example, wear glasses or carry a clipboard on purpose are more likely to be hired in job scenarios. Human social perception is a constructive process. Put smartly, we construct an image that aligns with our preconceived notion of success, and when they align, we give people credit for things they haven't yet proven. To put these two perspectives into perspective, imagine a hiring interview where the interviewer is feeling strong connections with a candidate. The interviewer will believe that this connection will manifest into a capable worker, when in reality, they may have simply relied on their charisma or a couple of advanced Google synonym searches. Karen Gordon explains her very own experience, stating that she has never hired the person who came off as the smartest sitting in the room. But that begs the question, why would she not hire someone with intelligence? Because someone unwilling to spend time with people more intelligent than them won't make themselves or their team better at their jobs. In fact, it is estimated that the MAU that wrong hires cost by the halo effect, for instance, can cost a company 1 to 7 times the person's first annual salary. Doesn't sound so smart to me. They need to put a little more life into their wisdom. Most of us sitting here today allows every hour, every minute, every second to tick on, believing that first impressions are important. Why do we truly forget that? Yes, impressions are essential, but our approach to appearing as the competent people we are needs to change. The idea that complex vocabulary makes us appear smarter has already been debunked by scientific studies. Psychologist Daniel Oppenheimer from Princeton University argues and studied the effect of unnecessarily complex language on a reader's impression of a writer. Works with fancy quirks added were consistently rated as less intelligent than those that use simple, clear language and font. So the conclusion here is to write as simply and plainly as possible, so you're actually able to communicate your ideas. So efforts to impress a mission officer by mindlessly searching through the thesaurus or watching every Young Sheldon episode, purchasing fake glasses and a blank clipboard to make you sound smarter may have the opposite effect after all. For instance, we have an example of Theodore Roosevelt, the man with the mud brick speech in 1906. He states, "You may recall the story of the man with the mud brick, a man who could look nowhere but downwards with a mud brick in his hand, who was offered a celestial crown for his mud brick, and he would neither look up nor regard the crown he was offered, and instead raked himself to the filth of the floor." Sure, this passage may be rich and robust in meaning, but those unfamiliar with the allegory, like all of you sitting here today, may have trouble understanding the passage. Another example is an extract from a narrative, stating the invigorating, harmonious blend of earthy beans may please my template at this very consistency of circumstances. But instead of the efficiency of an invigorating, harmonious blend of earthy beans manifested with intensity, write, "I need coffee," and instead of temporal circumstances, simply write, "I need coffee now." You get the point. So the real solution is not to stop using long words needlessly if they're part of your vernacular. Instead, it is to stop using long words you don't know the context for. Words don't need a lot of letters to be considered complex. Marketing consultant Von Wright states that Wordle, for example, has millions of us divided, not least because of the obscure words that many are complaining they have never heard of. This simple word game perfectly demonstrates that your vocabulary is at a hot topic of debate. Instead of spending hours learning obscure vocabulary, do background research and have multiple stories at hand, so when there is a talk or a speech or a writing, the reservoir of knowledge already exists. By implementing these strategies, you will sound smart with clarity, which of course includes technical language or industry lingo in the right context with the right people. And now, like any other smart, inspirational speech you have ever heard in your life. I will end with a short, abrupt, vaguely thought-provoking sentence. Noodle. Thank you.